Most men believe heartbreak is just bad luck. But the truth is, it's a lesson you were meant to face. History is full of powerful men who built empires, yet fell in silence to the subtle games of the heart. Johnny Depp, Jeff Bezos, even Elon Musk, not fools, not weak, but unaware. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." There's an ancient playbook, not written in ink, but in human behavior, refined over thousands of years. Patterns. So subtle they can bring down the richest, the strongest, and the most intelligent. Carl Jung called them archetypes, masks people wear to get what they want, hiding their true nature. Inside every man is the anima, the feminine image that pulls him toward certain women. Inside every woman is the animus, the masculine image she projects onto men. Most men don't realize this silent influence shapes their choices. When instincts betray you, it's often at the worst possible time. Modern research confirms it in 2023. Cambridge University found women score 23% higher in social Machiavellianism, skill and subtle psychological strategy. Michigan State found 76% of divorced men admitted they ignored red flags in the first 6 months. This isn't about good or bad. It's about tools. Men have long relied on strength. Women have mastered emotional and social strategy. When those tools turn from survival to control, the game begins. Secret 1. The addiction to emotional investment. Imagine meeting someone who treats you like you're the most fascinating man alive. Sweet messages, endless attention, you feel chosen. This is love bombing. Your brain floods with dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. Then suddenly it shifts. Its message is slow, warmth fades, and when you ask why, you're told, you're just overthinking. Here's the trap. Your mind can't accept losing that initial magic, so you chase harder, give more, trying to win it back. Without realizing, you've stepped into what Jung called the great controlling mother. Affection given only when you please her. WITHDRAWN. When you don't, like a gambler at a slot machine, you're hooked by unpredictable rewards. Epictetus warned us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When your emotions are on her schedule, you've already surrendered that freedom. Secret 2. The invisible provider test weeks into dating. A small problem appears, a broken car, a lost credit card, a pet emergency. You step in to help. She's grateful. You feel proud. Then it happens again and again. HES is quietly measured. Studies show 82% of financial exploitation begins with requests under $100 because they seem harmless, not too small to refuse. Here, the archetype is the damsel in distress, turning vulnerability into leverage. Seneca's words cut through the fog. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. If you crave her approval, you'll give beyond your limits. Secret 3. Strategic social triangulation. She casually mentions an ex who still misses her, or a coworker who flirts. It sounds harmless, but your chest tightens. This is triangulation, making you compete for a prize you thought you'd already won. Social media makes it effortless. A like here, a comment there, just enough to spark doubt. Men are wired to compete for mates. This tactic keeps you off balance, chasing her attention. In this role, she is the seductress, making you believe you're one of many options. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The moment you compete for what should already be yours, you've left the path of self-respect. Secret for emotional gaslighting. She denies what you remember clearly. At first, it's small. Then you're too sensitive. You're always overreacting. Slowly you question your memory, even your sanity. Jung called this the projected shadow, where your flaws are magnified, and she becomes the calm victim. In truth, this is about control. The Stoics teach us, control your perception, and you control your peace. If you lose trust in your own mind, you've lost everything. Secret 5. The emotional ammunition archive on a quiet night. She asks about your childhood, your fears, your scars. You open up, feeling safe. Months later, in a fight, those same secrets cut you open. This is the wise witch archetype. Intimacy turned into intelligence gathering, Seneca warned. What you keep to yourself, you control forever. When trust becomes a weapon, the relationship has already shifted from love to power. These patterns aren't myths, they're human. Psychology at work. And like any game, the only way to win is to know you're in one. Secret 6. The calculated addiction. It starts subtly. One day, she's cold and distant, speaking in short, clipped sentences. You replay every moment, wondering what you did wrong. Days later, her warmth returns, a smile, an embrace. Words that make your heart feel whole again. Relief floods in. You think it was worth it? She came back. This is not random. It's a deliberate pattern. The addiction reward cycle. By alternating emotional pain and pleasure, she trains your brain to chase her affection. Neuroscience proves that unpredictable rewards trigger more dopamine than consistent ones. Like a gambler at a slot machine, you crave the next win. Soon, stable love feels dull. You begin to crave the chaos. The coldness makes her warmth intoxicating. The darkness makes her attention feel like salvation. Carl Jung might call this the dual goddess healer and destroyer. She gives you life with her touch, but her silence cuts you to the bone. Epictetus warned, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. The true foolishness is letting your peace depend on another's mood. Secret 7. The planned strategic exit. The end never starts on the day she leaves. It begins months earlier. While you think all is well, she's already rewriting the story, quietly planting seeds among friends. Something's changed about him, posting vague quotes online, liking posts about escaping toxic relationships. She creates distance between you and her allies, saves screenshots, records, arguments, carefully hiding her role in provoking them. When she finally walks away, the narrative is ready, and the audience has chosen their side. Studies show 70% of divorces are initiated by women. The paperwork is just the final act. Before that, there's legal consultation, moving assets, building, emotional backup. And the brilliance lies in the framing. She's not leaving you. She's freeing herself. She's not selfish. She's brave. You were not used. You were part of her healing journey. This is the transformer archetype, the one who must end the relationship to be reborn. And you, whether you realize it or not, become the shadow she steps out of, Marcus Aurelius said. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. The harsh truth, you cannot control the exit, but you can control how you rise after it. Self-defense strategies, the Jung framework. Now that you know the 7 patterns, the question is, how do you protect yourself? Carl Jung gave us the answer: self-awareness. The man who knows himself is the hardest to deceive. First tool, the mirror test. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. In relationships, you can reverse this. If someone keeps accusing you of something, ask, are they describing themselves? This is projection. If she calls you controlling, look closely at who sets the rules. If she calls you dishonest, watch for the truths she hides, how to use it. For 1 week, write down every accusation or criticism. Then read it back, imagining she's speaking about herself. If the pattern fits her more than you may be facing manipulation. Second tool, the 90307 protocol. For the first 90 days, observe without committing. Notice how she talks about her ex, treats strangers, reacts when things don't go her way. Then, for 30 days, test controlled conflict. Say no to small requests. Challenge her opinions.
Ow.
This is when masks slip. Finally, spend 7 days reviewing your notes. Ignore feelings. Trust the data. If you see 3 or more red flags, walk away. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. The same applies to relationships. If the pattern isn't healthy, don't stay. Third tool, the rule of balanced investment. Never give more than you receive, not in time, money, or emotion. Keep at least 51% of your power. If you're always chasing, always giving, always trying harder, you're not in love, you're being used. Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Healthy people respect boundaries. Manipulators resent them. That reaction is your signal. Keep quiet records of anything that feels off. Save receipts, screenshots. And if legal, record key conversations. This isn't paranoia, it's strategic protection. In Stoic terms, guard your peace as you would guard a fortress. Fortress isn't built when enemies arrive, it's prepared long before. Real cases, when theory meets reality, the lessons of Stoicism aren't just found in books, they unfold in real lives, often in the public eye. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship displayed all 7 patterns. First, emotional. Investment. She began with overwhelming affection, then pulled away. Depp tattooed her name, a physical mark of emotional addiction. Second, the provider test. She moved into his homes, lived off his wealth, each yes signaling she could ask for more. Third, triangulation. Mentions of other men, including Elon Musk, were not accidents. Each name was a calculated move to provoke competition. Fourth, gaslighting. She denied abusive acts despite recordings. Conversations twisted until Depp questioned his own mind. Fifth, the emotional archive. His deepest wounds, addictions, family trauma were weaponized during conflict. Sixth, the reward cycle. Passions swung to chaos and back again, binding him to the high after the storm. Seventh, the strategic exit. Evidence was collected, allies swayed, and a victim narrative built long before the divorce filing. Jeff Bezos faced a similar script. Before the split, Mackenzie quietly built her network, consulted lawyers, secured assets. When the news broke, the richest man alive was unprepared. Even reality TV shows like Love Island or Love is Blind reveals the same strategies. Those who thrive are not always the most loving, but the most aware. Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Awareness is the first step. The men in these stories weren't weak, they were uninformed. Now you have the knowledge they didn't. So the question remains, now that you hold this knowledge, what will you do with it? Men like Johnny Depp, Jeff Bezos, and countless others learned these lessons through loss and pain. You, however, have the advantage they never did: a map of the terrain before you walk it. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The patterns you've seen are not chains, they are signposts. You can choose differently. Some will ignore these truths, believing they are immune. Others will armor themselves, using wisdom as both shield and guide. The Stoic path is not about fear of others, but mastery of the self. Seneca wrote, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. You are now prepared. The next move is yours. Let's recap the 7 patterns, not to dwell on them, but to remember the map. First, emotional addiction, the hook that turns you into the pursuer. Second, the provider test, measuring how far you'll go before you say enough. Third, triangulation, using your instinct to compete against you. Fourth, gaslighting, making you question your own memory and reality. Fifth, the emotional archive, turning your deepest confessions into weapons. Sixth, the reward cycle, binding you to a loop of pain and pleasure. Seventh, the strategic exit, rewriting the story so you play the villain in her victory. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you would be good, first believe you are bad. Awareness of these traps doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you prepared. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you know the game, you can choose whether to play. This knowledge is not meant to be locked away. It is meant to be shared. Think of the men you know who need to hear this. Friends who are confused, hurt, or blaming themselves. How many years of pain could be spared if they saw the truth early? Now, you have two choices. Ignore it and remain vulnerable. Or join the ranks of men who have opened their eyes, men who understand the game and protect themselves. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows anything about the subject." What matters is truth, not the crowd's judgment. Some will call you extreme, some will call you bitter. Are not attacking women, you are protecting men emotionally and financially, and awakened men protect one another. Seneca said, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Fear of being misunderstood should never stop you from sharing wisdom that can save someone else. This is not the end. It is the beginning of your transformation from naive to aware, from emotionally blind to emotionally sovereign. You now hold real power, the ability to protect your heart, your resources, and your mind. Yes, healthy relationships exist, but only for those who understand the rules. Epictetus taught, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." Now that you understand manipulation, you can avoid it or confront it like a man. Informed men make wiser choices. Prepared men are never victims, and men who know the game never feel like fools again. Your love life has just changed forever. Use this power with discipline. Your future self will thank you. In the next chapter, we'll explore the 5 types of women every man should avoid, wisdom drawn from over 2 decades of behavioral study. But understand this is not the end. It is the first step in your transformation. You are moving from naive to aware, from emotionally blind to emotionally sovereign. You now carry a kind of power many men never find: the ability to guard your emotions, protect your resources, and preserve your peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Yes, healthy relationships are real, but they belong to those who understand the game, who see the signs before it's too late. Once you recognize manipulation, you can avoid it or stand your ground and face it with calm. Strength. Epictetus taught, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." Informed men choose their judgments wisely. Prepared men are never victims. And men who know the game never feel like fools again. Your love life is no longer left to chance. Use this wisdom with discipline, and you will build a future that honors both your values and your dignity.